Okay, so if we have a right angle triangle and we know two of the sides, okay, it is possible to work out the third side, all right, using Pythagoras' theorem. So if we remember, Pythagoras' theorem goes like this: a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared, okay, and the c is what you need to identify first, right, is the longest side. So in this case, this is where the question mark is. We clearly see that is the longest side just visually looking at it, but more importantly, it's got to be opposite the right angle, okay? So it's always opposite the 90 degrees. And then A and B, well, it doesn't matter what you call A and B. That could be A, that could be B, or we could call this A and this B, okay? It's your choice. So we've got Pythagoras' theorem there: a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. Now you can write it the other way around. Sometimes it's helpful to write c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared, like that. Okay, so just swap it round. So then c squared, well, c is our question mark in this case. So we don't know what c is, so it's question mark and we've got to square it. Okay, my a is 3.5, okay, and we've got to square that. And my b is 4.2, and we've got to square that. Okay, so what we can do now is get our calculator and we can work this out. Okay, so we can actually do that in one go. So we could do 3.5 squared plus 4.2 squared, okay, equals, so we get fractions, press the SD button, we get 29.89. So that's what this side is going to be, this longest side, which is question mark, we don't know what it is, but the square of it is equal to that, okay? So the length of this isn't 29.89, the square of it is equal to 29.89. So the question is, how do I work out what question mark actually is, what that side actually is? We know the square of it is 29.89, so how do I actually work out the root of that number? And essentially, that's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to square root it, okay? Because when we take the square over, we'll do the opposite on the square root. So we do square root of 29.89. Okay, so we get our calculator, type that in, press the SD, and we get 5.5, okay, to one decimal place. All right, so let's look at another example. Now we've got a triangle here, okay, it's sort of rotated around a little bit, but hopefully you can clearly see that this side here has got to be C, because it's the longest side and opposite the right angle. And then, you know, it doesn't, you call that A and that B, okay? But again, you just got to apply that theorem, right? C squared is A squared plus B squared, okay? So we've got your question mark, okay, for C. Now you might not want to write question mark, because it's a bit strange, isn't it? So you could just keep it as C squared if you want to, okay? A would be 0.5, so 0.5 squared. And then B will be 1.2 squared. Okay, so again, with our calculator, 0.5 squared plus 1.2 squared equals to 1.69. So remember, now that's C squared, but I need to work out C. So what am I squaring to get 1.69? To work that out, I've just got to do the opposite and square root. Square root that answer, and I get 1.3. Okay, so that side there is 1.3.